Alchemedia. Alchemedia. This is our theme song. And now that we said that out loud, it's probably not as good, but we're still vibing, so it's alright. So please go like, go share, and subscribe. We love you, Alchemedia.
Welcome, Alchemedians!
And welcome to another episode.
To 2026.
Almost forgot.
Year moves on by fast.
It does. And with new years comes new movies.
And old movies that were previously put into old years.
But
like this year, 2025 movies, for example. That's what the main point we're bringing to today.
Yep, these will be the top 10 movies each other we have, and
of course, like usually again, we did the exact same kind of premise last year.
yes,
Where we're not gonna fight over like which movie is gonna be like best for both of us. We kind of just made our own separate list to
and if
even
a
things
movie
out.
and if a movie appeared twice, we went with the next one on our list till it didn't.
Yeah, there was a lot of good movies and a lot of movies that we didn't really get to.
Yep. So, without further ado, and it was Frankenstein, because it was on both of our lists, but we couldn't figure out where to place it. So we're just putting it here on as an honorable mention.
Yeah. And there are other movies I didn't get to and he didn't get to, like Anaconda.
Yeah, I just didn't see it, and I also didn't get to see Avatar: Fire and Ash.
And I didn't get to see like Death of the Unicorn or Roof Man or.
Yeah, so we'll be excluding those, but we don't know if they were good movies or not. We just didn't get to see them in time to make this video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and share with the many friends that you have.
Or just watch it 100 times.
You know? That's a good idea. Maybe you should do that.
Yes. So
we're in your minds and we're saying everything that you're thinking right now. Watch this video again and again.
All right, and without delay,
let's get started on my number 10. With new years come new excitements, new chances, new stuff like that. And what's more exciting than not watching golf? And that brings us to our number 10 spot, Happy Gilmore 2. Let me tell you, I just started watching more comedies and more movies this year than ever before. And I started realizing how much those movies really have an impact in general. Like the first Happy Gilmore, I mean, it wasn't the best comedy I've ever seen, but it still was amazing. I honestly thought it had a lot of humor that a lot of people could laugh at, whether it be childish or adult or just everything. And in Happy Gilmore 2, they took advantage of Happy Gilmore 1 by putting in more cameos that really spoke to its audience. And the fact that they really did more with the championships and just made more of a suspense thing of what's happening and made it so that age grew of the movie, because this is the second movie and this is where Adam Sandler got older from the first movie and really realized his ways of becoming a father and still being good at golf. And yeah, Happy Gilmore 2 really made an impact on people's life, a lot of people who watched it. I will say it is lower on the list, probably because like other movies I feel like I have a personal attachment to. This one I still do. It's just the fact that it is more universally loved than more of like struck in just by me. I feel like this one, like I've heard many good things about from everyone. Over somebody with it, like it's not it probably could happen, but it's less likely to happen with this because it's just that good of a movie. So that's why it's in my number 10, because I feel like this one I would I would have an amazing time talking to people about. Just nothing to really defend it for.
Number 10 for me is going to be Demon Slayer in Infinity Castle. The reason why it's here and not above the list is simply because before this movie, this was like one of my first experiences with Demon Slayer. I mean, I knew of it before this. I knew the characters, but not like the storylines or the individual storylines or the settings or any things like that. So to experience it like this for a movie was a little bit harder, but I am going to give it credit. I think it made a big impact in the anime community, even if you don't know, because it did so well. And for an anime movie to do that so well, and that's not like a Pokemon, is amazing. It shows how far the community has come as far as the fandom. This movie had some, like, the characters were well put together. It was a well-rounded movie. And I think if I would have watched the series before I watched the movie, it'd probably be higher on the list. Watching this movie reminded me a lot of going back to all the anime movies. It reminded me, it had a strong connection to me for Howl's Moving Castle.
Number 9, Bad Guys 2. The art in this movie is so good. Like, the art in the first Bad Guys was already amazing, but that's the thing about this movie. It really took from the first movie of how good it was and how, like, impactful the relationships of the team are. But also, like, providing more relationships to other people in the movie and just making more to the universe that they built for the bad guys. And the fact they make so much more focus on the relationships, but also the team, making sure they're all compact to make them realize how much of an impact they make to their own world. They even had a hero moment at near the end of the movie that you wouldn't think would make them like bigger than they were from the end of the first movie. And honestly, things get really bad for them to the point where you're thinking, how could this turn around for them at all? Like most movies should do. And this really takes the cake for doing that in a way that's so so sufficient. Makes it a real good emotional movie for relationships and emotional impact that I feel is as good as the first movie.
Number 9 for me is the Minecraft movie. I mean, I honestly don't think anyone could argue that this movie had an impact. I mean, there's few movies that the movie actually got stopped in theaters for use of a chicken. No, from Jack Black playing Steve, which a lot of people doubted, to the whole Jason Momoa, I think those were actually kind of made the movie in the long run. I think they were able to do it without, sometimes the CGI looks bad or sometimes, but I think it flowed very nice. And even the supporting cast was spot on as far as that goes. I can think of a few small complaints, but nothing that would really take away from the overall experience of this movie.
Number 8 is a movie I don't think anyone is surprised to be on this. How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version.
Now, whether to say that it's better than the animated version, why are we trying to decide those things? But this movie was amazing. The fact they made the animated version, but more realistic in a way that worked so well with actors to play the people of Berk that really did well on playing their own characters of the people of Berk, especially Hiccup, his dad, and his love interest during the movie. It is so good. It is really good. I would say the one thing I have against it is the fact that he doesn't really use his notebook during the movie, like in the animated one, when he was writing down everything about each dragon in the movie, which honestly sold me when I was watching the animated version because I felt like it would be a good book to have in general. And also, this was like the year that I felt I watched the first movie and just I have because I haven't watched it at all. If it was is out of memory for me, and I really liked it. It was really cute and just the showing of how a person could first get their own pet, like from them being wild and not really caring for rules to them following your every demand and honestly being your best friend at that point. It's super adorable and honestly, it's super awesome. It's just a lot of good emotion, a lot of good emotions to spread around, and I love it for that.
Number 8 for my list is Paddington in Peru. Now, I got to go see this in the theaters. I always love these kind of books that try to do stories from that impacted a lot of people's lives, from the Clifford series to like Lyle Lyle Crocodile, and I was really liked Harold and the Purple Crayon, but Paddington, this is a trilogy now. I think all 3 movies has hit very close to being, this might be the greatest trilogy of this type. I can't say enough good things about this. I mean, Antonio Banderas was perfect for the villain. The setup was amazing, and if this was the last one, I think it was a good foot to go out on.
Number 7, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. What an upgrade! I did not like the first Five Nights at Freddy's, I'll be honest. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just was just a bunch of Josh Hutcherson sleeping and nothing really scary about it. It didn't even feel like a horror movie, which some people argued it wasn't really supposed to be a horror movie. In general, it's just supposed to be a drama movie, which in that case, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. It should be a horror movie. This one really pulled that off. This one was scary. There's a lot of stuff the animatronics did that the animatronics should do, and it actually felt like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, where they actually showed like the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in the movie. It was so good. The way the animatronics was trying to take advantage of the younger sister from the first movie was amazing. There's just so much to love about this that the first one I feel like didn't do, that this one pulled off to the extreme levels of making an amazing Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And I'm glad I didn't skip out on this at all. And that's how I felt like when I left the theaters. Just, oh my gosh, why wasn't the first one like this?
Number 7 is Dogman. Dogman, it's another one of those cases of taking a book that people know, classic like Captain Underpants, and bringing it to the screen. But this one seemed to actually work better than Captain Underpants. I think because Dogman had more of a comic feel in this that kind of lent itself to the design style. Uh, but from them doing Petey the Cat, or to Dogman himself, to even the smaller characters, all fit extremely well. I can't think of much wrong with this movie. If I could give one complaint, it would just simply be that it seemed to be a little rushed.
Number 6, Thunderbolts. This movie felt before I even watched this movie, I was scared because I didn't like one of the characters that were the villain in the movie. But the funniest part about that is that person got very much made fun of the entire movie, and it was hilarious. And they actually kind of redeemed themselves, which I wouldn't think was possible because of what he did. But it was... all of this movie was very philosophical to the point where the main point of this movie, what people would say is the villain, is really good. Just the superpowered guy who basically he was immortal basically and could do everything. It's insane how good he is as the villain, but he wasn't the villain. That's the one gripe I have with this movie. The villain of this movie was the government. But honestly, from how high I put this on, you can tell how little that it really mattered to me, how the villain was basically the government, because they were barely a part of it. They just kind of made the villain of my favorite part of the movie what he is. So it's just so good, and it shows off so many of the villains that we already come to know, kind of in a way that the Avengers did. And this makes a very current Avengers type instead of just a Suicide Squad.
Number 6 for me is one of my favorite franchises ever. And it's probably here simply because not only is it a great movie, just because when it's one of your favorite franchises, you're a little bit concerned every time a new version comes out. This is called Predator, Killer of Killers. I understand it's controversial because a lot of people don't like the featurettes, which is a lot of movies broken up instead of one baseline movie. I think my favorite one was the Viking one, followed by the one about the World War II pilots. This movie was amazing to see, not just the animation of a similar to Spider-Man in the multiverse, it also just to see Predator as a focal point again in this, when it usually is, when the Predator sometimes is used as a sideline to a main character story. That's why I actually believe this is only behind the original story as one of the best Predator movies.
My number 5. It's going to be a weird one considering of all the ones I've already named off this list. In fact, my list kind of sounds like Nick's list, not going to lie. The Plankton movie. This is the most... I'll say it and I'll say it again. I'll probably bring this movie up in conversation. It is so adorable. This movie is extremely adorable. And I love the love that Plankton and Karen share, to where they are both evil. And Karen could have took over the chum bucket and the world at any time, but Plankton is in charge of her to make her realize that he is in charge in a way that keeps them together and makes Karen feel more supported. And I love that. I would consider this like a love movie in general. This is the most romantic movie you'll probably ever see. And it's a SpongeBob movie. I know. And the jokes were hilarious. The way the story was made was basically like the Oh My Karen episode from SpongeBob. And they just made it bigger. So much bigger. The way it was made from one of my favorite characters from SpongeBob is insane. This belongs here on the top 10 of my favorite movies because of how good of a love story this is.
Number 5 is a little bit different than the rest of my list. It is Rental Family. I'm not the biggest fan of dramas or heartfelt movies in general, but one of my favorite actors is Brendan Fraser. And he's just usually great in everything he does. So when I went to this movie, it was undeniably a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, it's called Rental Family. It's about a man who is working in Japan as an actor, and he's finding it harder and harder to find jobs. So he ends up taking a role as basically to fill in the position of other people in industry in Japan, and the movie explains it very well. And yeah, you should go see this movie.
Number 4, a movie I watched because I was trying to get to the movies that I didn't get to in 2025. And I was editing a video at the time, which shows you how good it is if it's this high and I was editing. Like, a little part of me was like listening and hearing everything that was going on, but also just paying attention to the movie and editing at the same time. While watching this, put down what I used to edit and just watch the movie and just was amazed by everything that was happening. This is Novocaine, baby. This guy just doesn't feel pain. And he's always scared and is always careful of what can bring him pain because he can't feel it. So if he ever gets stabbed in the hand, there'll be blood everywhere, but he won't react at all. He'll be like, "Huh? I got stabbed." Oh. And let me tell you, the actor behind this, I swear, has been through a lot of movies that I really enjoyed through the last couple of movies that I tried to get to this year. Novocaine, the way he was portrayed to be that character, he played it so well. And this was an awesome action movie that I would consider as good as Violent Night for how good the action is. There's so much action that's happening and just so much of everything happening. There's comedy in it, there's drama in it. It's so good. The one thing I would say wrong with it is the villain's kind of weird about his plans for the love interest. I'm not going to spoil anything but you'll kind of see, because in a way their relationship is kind of weird if you watch it, considering how the hero feels about her and how the villain feels about her for some reason. But Novocaine, give it a watch. It is incredible.
Number 4 is controversial, to say the least. It's Lilo and Stitch. I really like this movie. In fact, I understand that there's a lot of people that don't like the Disney live actions, and that's completely up to you, and that's completely okay. But this one seemed to have a very strong connection to me. I watched the original Lilo and Stitch so many times. Uh, that I think it's actually that I didn't want it to be exactly the same because there's already a Lilo and Stitch. I think what it did well was it drew a line that this wasn't the original version, and if you weren't going into expecting a shot for shot remake, I I think yes, it went a little. The pace was a little bit faster to get to the better parts, but I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing because I think they were trying to keep the runtime the same while adding in new stuff. Scene underwater was really good. Um, Now, a lot of people complained that there was the Gantu system. Gantu wasn't in this movie, but I think that they're going to save him more for number two, which they announced they're going to make. So I I don't know if that was a mistake or if it was just a delay of like they were going to only give this like one villain. But I really did like this movie, and rest in peace to the man that played the shaved Iceman. And
So what's your number three?
Do you want to know?
Yes, I want to know.
In your dreams.
Fine, you don't have to get all huffy about it.
What? No, that is my number three. Number three, In Your Dreams. As funny as the skit that I pulled out just now was, this is strangely a very serious movie. You'd think it'd be like, from how the humor is, kind of like an Adam Sandler type animated movie. Like Leo, which I love Leo. But this movie felt more like Oriented in the Dark for how serious it turned into. To where this daughter wants to save her parents from going through a divorce, which is an insane subject to talk about in a kid's movie. And I'll even say it, they still go on with the divorce at the end of the movie. I'm not going to say how, because I feel like that's more spoilery than what I said. But the fact that everything went down in the most like kid-friendly way to bring up on this subject is something to really commend them for making this movie in general. Like, it's not something I can relate to, but I can see visually through what is going down through what I'm seeing in this animated movie. And it's a strangely serious movie for being like so like Adam Sandler jokey vibes to it.
number three is Fantastic Four: The First Steps. I don't compare this movie very often, but if I'm going to compare this in a Marvel setting, it had the impact of the original Thor, where it showed like what a movie the Marvel universe could set up. And that's what this movie was. It was setting up for something further. And that's all I expected it to do. But to have it this good was amazing. They introduced not only the Fantastic Four themselves, but a very important character in the comics, which was the son of Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. They also had a Galactus was done amazingly, and I know there was some controversy around Silver Surfer, but if as a person who actually read the comics, and what it kind of set this universe in a certain place in the comic world. This was the best adaptation of or adaptation of Fantastic Four, even better than the original like early 2000s version. And I'm going to stick to that.
You see this right here? That's a dog. You know what's a adaptation, well, a before adaptation of a dog? A wolf. There's a horror movie about this guy right here. And then there's me. A man. Wolf man. Wolf man. You get the picture. Number 2 as Wolfman. I waited at the theater just to see this movie for like 3 hours. This movie is incredible. It didn't even have any jokes or anything at all. And it still like brought my attention. I was really sucked in to how amazing they made this adaptation of Wolfman, to where they made Wolfman actually scary, to where like I actually know all the story of Wolfman and how it's a dad trying to protect his children and then grows into a more feared guy because of how he's turning into a wolf. And everything that happens in it, it is so good. That's right. That's why it's at number 2.
Number 2 is Elio. I went and saw this in theaters, and honestly, I almost felt bad that it didn't do better. Because it really deserved it. But the fact that it didn't kind of cements it as like this generation's Treasure Planet. That's how good this movie was. To see the designs of space and to see what every creature look like and all the aliens look like, to just a baseline story about him trying to fit into this world they created is amazing. And the villain, I don't know if you could, yeah, you could call him a villain. Not as much as other villains, but he still had a villain presence, and he was a threat to the main character. And the friendship between the two main cast was good, and even the interaction between Elio and his aunt, which sometimes feel a little forced in these movies, felt very natural and fluid. I've watched it probably 3 times since it's been on Disney Plus, and there's a good reason. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite modern Disney movies.
Okay, now it's time for my number 1. This might be the most controversial take, but I think last year was a controversial take on my number 1 anyway. But you know what? I have a little secret for y'all. Come here. I don't care. My number 1 is Snow White. The way Snow White acted felt more like a person than she did in the original when she was just a princess. The way the dwarves acted to make them have more of a story with the prince having more of a story and making him like build on his own story with Snow White. And then the evil queen, which didn't really get a story per se, but still was the villain as you would expect from Snow White. It's really good. The music, the scenery, everything, the way people choreographed. Like, I would want to be one of the townspeople because of how much they feel like theater kids, or just theater people in general. Because as a theater person myself, that looks like a fun place to be in. And it just makes me so happy to see it not ruined. Like, you're feeling like it's gonna be like, maybe that was my thing about it, that my expectations was kind of lowered for the sake that people said it was going to be awful. And then like part of me was going to be like, yeah, you know what, even if let's just say it's going to be good. It's not going to be the best. This is the best movie of the year for me because of how much they put into this movie that they worked extremely hard to get to. even like the CGI with the dwarves, the CGI in general, everything was beautiful. And I will stand by that. This is me standing right now. But yeah, Snow White, we might be doing it in defense of for because of how much this movie matters to me specifically.
My number one might not be as controversial, but it still makes me happy. My number one is Zootopia 2. And the reason is simple. I mean, I had high expectations going into this, but I was so afraid that it was going to be bad because no matter how high your expectations is, there's that little voice in the back of your head saying, "Yeah, prepare." But it smashed all conceptions of that. It's like I first saw it because I just was reading a book and when I read it and I'm like, no, this is going to be good because I actually read the book before I watched the movie but the fact that it was so well done with the villain, the fact that they put in the old character so fluidly that and Zootopia might have been definitely in my top 10 maybe Disney movies of the 2010s, but the fact that this Zootopia 2 might actually be a little better as far as the villain goes, and the messaging was spot on, and I think it had that level of thought process that you really wanted from this movie, and they kept everything so like such a fluid line from the last movie, which is what you want in a sequel. So I definitely think it was the best sequel of the year, and for me it was the best movie of the year.
Thank you, Alchemedians, for watching.
And thank you for watching us every time.
I'm excited for the movies to come. That is the next video that's going to be posted to our channel.
Yep, we are going to post after this the movies we're looking forward to in 2026.
This might be released in 2026.
Oh, it 100% will.
Yeah.
It's but we want you to have a safe and happy New Year, and
yeah, every single one of the choices for these movies was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Considering how many good movies that there were.
Yeah. And if you don't like our list or if you have your own number ones and we hope
your opinion's wrong. Cut that out.
and we will hopefully try to, and we actually would like to talk more in the In Defense series and to see why people actually would like movies that usually don't get the like that people think they should. And if you suggest one, we might look at it.
We're very excited to do more on the channel next year for anybody still watching. And again, please hit subscribe, and share with your friends if you can.
Okay. And
love y'all, comedians.
take care.